All right, let's try this again. Apostle Cheryl Richardson here, as determined as ever to do exactly what the Lord has told me to do. I'm waiting for Lisa Alexander to pop up here so that I can add her to our conversation. We're going to be talking about domestic violence. And so the topic for this live is shattering the silence, because the silence around this topic is deafening. It really, really is. Okay, so Lisa wants to be in it, and I want her to be in it. So let's get her on here. Where are you? Okay, it says adding. Adding. I don't know what's taking so long. Hey, Naomi. It is just taking forever. I see your smiling face. It's not adding you. Was thinking about it. So while we're waiting for Lisa to get added, this topic has really, truly been on our heart. And while we're waiting for her to get added, I will just let you know she's amazing. And I love her passion around this particular topic. And she is the visionary and founder for Stand Up Survivor, which is a organization devoted to raising awareness and encouraging those that have been impacted by domestic violence. And she has a Facebook page. It's telling me that the connection failed, so it's not letting me let you on. Let me see here. Add. Trying to get you on here. Approve. It says adding again. Hopefully it'll go through this time. Okay, so while we're waiting for modern technology to figure out what it's supposed to be doing here, domestic violence is a topic that affects everyone, and it crosses, socioeconomic lines. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you grew up in. It doesn't matter what your educational level is. It doesn't matter how much money you make, what your race is, what your gender is. It is an epidemic, and it affects every single one of us. And it is so prevalent that someone you know, if not yourself, has been affected by it or is currently being affected by it. So the dynamics around it are pretty intense. And at the onset, it can often be very, very subtle. And so I wanted to have a talk with Lisa Alexander. It keeps failing. I wanted to have a talk with Lisa Alexander concerning her organization and their goals and what it is that they've purposed to do. She's got an amazing Facebook group called Stand Up Survivor. She is currently in school, so she enjoys education. And, I'm grateful for her and for what she is doing. I really, really, really wanted us to be able to have a conversation. But in the meantime, while we're waiting, because I keep clicking add and it keeps trying and then it says, no, they won't add her. Let me give the number. Hey, Sandy, let me give the number to the National Domestic Violence Hotline while we're waiting for the ad. 1-800-799-SAFE, SAFE. Again, that's 1-800-799-SAFE. And then I'll give you some other numbers too. The National Sexual Assault Hotline is 1-800-656-HOPE, HOPE. 800-656-HOPE. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, again, is 1-800-273-8255. Thanks, Lisa, for putting that up there. And then the National Human Trafficking Hotline is 888-373-8255. 7888. And then one more number that's near and dear to my heart because I'm an Air Force veteran is the Veterans Crisis Line. And that's 1-800-273-8255. Again, the Veterans Crisis Line is 1-800-273-8255. Hey, Dexter. So we want to talk about domestic violence and the impact that it has on us. And one of the things that I find myself coming into contact with often are people who are believers, who are people of faith, who are completely confused about how they even found themselves in this situation. They don't understand how they got there. They don't understand why they didn't see the signs or why they ignored the signs or any of that. And I think it's important that we raise awareness around this topic. It's inconceivable to me, and I'm an apostle in the Lord's church, and I am a prophet, and I've been in ministry for a while now, right? So it's inconceivable to me that we can go to church and get prophesied to about a new car. And then the person 3 seats down from us on the same pew is going home and getting cursed out and beat up. It's inconceivable. And it doesn't line up with scripture. And so that means that we are missing something, okay? And so often people will quote Hosea 4:6, and they'll say, the Lord said, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Well, there's not a period there, there's a colon there. And it goes on to say, because thou hast rejected knowledge. And what people overlook is he was talking to the priest. He was talking to those in leadership. And so people are being destroyed and people are being subjected to domestic violence because those of us in a position of authority and those of us that have a voice in the realm of the spirit are not using it the way we're supposed to use it. We're ignoring it. We're minimizing it. We're trying to make it okay. And as a clinician, I can tell you that my concern is when we get into that mode, we're more concerned about how we're being affected by what's being shared, how we're being triggered by what's being shared, the insecurity that it might raise in us regarding what's being shared, or our inability to believe that our favorite deacon, pastor, bishop, missionary, whoever, is engaged in such horrific behavior, So when we do that, then we're putting ourselves ahead of the people that the Lord has placed in our charge and given us a responsibility to cover. And he's not okay with that. And it's really time for us to stand up and to do something about these behaviors. And it can only go on because we allow it. It can only go on because we look the other way, because we put ourselves first, right? We put ourselves first, and then we decide, oh, he would never do that. Oh, he's a police officer, a first responder, a bishop, an astronaut, whatever. They couldn't possibly behave that way. Not doing our due diligence, right? And so people are literally leaving our church services across denominations, whatever day you worship, it doesn't matter, all right? They're leaving a worship service and they're going home to the pit of hell where they're being called names, where they're being pushed, shoved, cursed out, threatened, intimidated, money being withheld from them, all right? And when they come to church, they look all happy. And because that's what we want to see, we don't look any further. This is what I know about God. He is far more concerned about our soul than he is about what kind of car we're driving, or if we get a new one or not, all right? And so this is something that we are passionate about. And it's something that he's been dealing with us about extensively. And it's why I really want to get Lisa on here to talk to her, because she is an expert in this regard. But we have got to do better. It's more important that the people around us, if they are believers or not, are safe. And there are ways that we can intervene that can increase the possibility of them being safe, that can minimize the damage that they are exposed to, okay? How many of you know that men can be abused too, okay? And so I know that there's a lot of focus on women, but I know some women that are, okay? Men are victims also. And they are less likely to report it because it's embarrassing and nobody's going to believe it, right? And if they do report it, they're less likely to get help. They're going to probably be ridiculed or told to just kind of suck it up and get over it. You know, exert your manhood. Don't let her treat you that way, kind of thing. Not understanding the spiritual dynamics, not understanding the financial constraints, the emotional constraints. If there are children involved, those constraints. So it gets very, very tangled up, and people feel incredibly isolated when they're in these situations. And the reality of it is they feel isolated because they are isolated. They feel isolated because most of the people around them don't want to be bothered. Oftentimes, if you have a couple that has a fractured relationship, where there's abuse, or whether it's verbal or physical, it raises insecurity in others. It raises insecurity in others. Oh, if that can happen to them, it could happen over here. It's almost like you have a communicable disease of some sort. Nobody really wants to be bothered. Nobody wants to hear you crying about what he said to you this time. Nobody wants to hear that, you know, she punched you in your face and you didn't do anything about it. Nobody wants to hear that. Okay? We have got to do better. And for those of us who are believers, the Lord's expectation is this, that our heart is broken about the things that break his heart. Not about if we get a new car or not. Not about if we got that promotion or not. But he's concerned about each and every one of us, and he died for each and every one of us. And he did not die for us to get mistreated down here. He did not die for us to get mistreated down here. And so we have got to collectively, all of us, myself included, do a better job of truly undergirding one another and taking care of one another. So one of the things that we have done on January the 1st, we launched Anointed Fire Empowerment Enterprises because the Lord said so. And then 3 weeks later, we launched Anointed Fire Empowerment Courses. And so we have 3 courses that are available. We did one, we did it free for a while. But the Lord said to me, you know, I want you to stop giving away the stuff that I give you. Okay, so people need to assign some value to it. And those of you who know me know I don't ask anybody. I don't even know how to do that, like ask for stuff. So we've got 3 courses that are available at this time. The first one is a mini course, and it is entitled What Not to Say to an Abuser. And I'm going to come back to that because that's important. The second course is Domestic Violence, the Silent Epidemic. That's a 5-day course. And then we're writing a 5-week course, and we want input from folk about what other things that they would like to see included. What is it that you want to learn more about concerning domestic violence, the stigma associated with it, where it comes from, how to address it, how to help yourself if you're in it, how to help others, okay? And so that's Dominion Over Domestic Violence. So you can access our courses at Anointed-Fire, and someone's going to post this so you all can check back later on the feed, and it'll all be in the feed. Anointed-Fire-empowermentcourses.thinkific.com is where you can access our courses. We also have a blog called Judah's Roar, Judahs, and then ROAR-R, Judah's Roar. You can visit that at www.judahsroar.com. You can sign up, and then you'll get notifications whenever we post a new article or when something else is going on. So I would encourage you to go ahead and to sign up. That's 2 different places. Signing up for one place won't get you notification for the other place, okay? So sign up for those 2 things. And what we really want is for people to make a renewed commitment to doing something about this. Let me just say that y'all know, those of y'all who know me know I'm just me. Everywhere you see me, church, work, home, I'm just me, right? What a person doesn't want to hear when they're getting their hind parts kicked after church, after the benediction, what they don't want to hear is, I'm praying for you. Okay, I'm praying for you. I'm here. What does that even mean? What does that mean? What does that mean when we say that to people? What am I going to do while I'm here? Am I going to help you? Or am I just watch you go back into the house and get beat up? What am I going to do? And so there are practical things that can be done. And these are the things that we want to address in the course. And then having said that, there's more to it than saying, girl, I wouldn't let him do that to me. You better get on up out of there. No, this is how people get killed. Okay. So if you look at it from a spiritual standpoint, it's warfare. It's warfare. All right. And the enemy's point is to ensure that that individual that's being mistreated does not fulfill their purpose in the earth. They must have an amazing purpose, because they would not be getting that much attention from hell if they didn't, right? So clearly God has got something amazing for them, and they've got to be able to navigate this situation safely. So telling folk what you wouldn't put up with is not helpful, because the reality of it is, if you had invested in the situation, what they invested in the situation, you'd have the same obstacles to overcome in terms of leaving. There's more to it than leaving. When you do leave, that is the most dangerous time. And I'll take it a step further and say this. Women, men, whenever you decide, I can't do this anymore, what you don't want to do is fall back to that traditional mindset and think you're going to sit down and have tea and crumpets with your abuser and explain how you just can't take it no more. Because you're going to probably get beat up right after that conversation. That is not how you handle that. That is not how you handle it. So there are many things that have kind of been taught to us, and people meant well, but they serve to keep us ensnared. They serve to keep us trapped. And one of the things that has acted as an impetus for me in my ministry from the very beginning is that there was a young lady that called me. It's about 20 years ago, okay? And I was a brand new therapist. I think I've been a therapist for 5 minutes, okay? And she called me and she shared with me that she had a plan. I'm like, what are you talking about? You have a plan? What does that mean? And she said that she was going to kill her husband, who was cheating on her. And not that there's a right way to cheat, but he wasn't even being discreet. Like, everybody knew who the side chick was. It wasn't hidden. It was plain out in the open. Everybody knew. So she was embarrassed. She couldn't go to the grocery store without just feeling humiliated. She said she was going to kill him. And she said all of this very calmly. She was going to kill him. And then she was going to kill her children because there wouldn't be anybody to take care of them. And then she was going to kill herself. And I'm like, what? She said it again. So I got someone else, a mutual friend. I'm like, okay, I need you to keep her talking on the phone, and I need to get over there, because all of that sounds crazy to me, right? And so I was able to get over there, and she let me in the house. You know, looking back on this, I'm thinking, that could have gone sideways any number of ways, okay? But I'm just wanting you all to understand why I'm so passionate about it. She had a shotgun. A shotgun. She had a shotgun, a real one, and it was loaded. I was able to talk her into giving it to me. And this is what happened. She had told me earlier in the day that she was going to go talk to her pastor. Now, I'm going to show you how tradition can cause us to shut up when we should cry aloud and say the wrong thing when we ought to be quiet. And this is why we need to be led. Traditionally, you don't tell anybody, right? Don't go talk to your pastor. You don't do that. That's considered disrespectful. You're out of line. You ought to stay in your lane. You need to be submitted, blah, blah, blah. Okay. There were reasons that those rules were existed, and most of them were to keep people under control, okay? Now, I know everybody's not going to be happy about what I'm saying, but it's all right. I'm saying it anyway, okay? When she said to me she was going to go talk to her pastor, everything on the inside of me screamed, don't go talk to that man about this. Don't go talk to that man. Don't go talk to that man. But I didn't say it. I didn't tell her not to go talk to him. I did not tell her not to talk to him. And because in my mind at the time, because of how I was trained in the church, you don't do that. You don't tell somebody don't talk to their pastor or their spiritual advisor, right? That's wrong. That's wrong. Like, I don't know where the scripture is for that. That's the other thing. We need to know the word for ourselves, okay? So because that was ingrained in me, I did not say to her, and I mean, it was screaming to get out on the inside of me. I did not say to her, don't talk to him. She was going to just go talk to him because she wanted some guidance. Okay. I knew she shouldn't talk to him. After she talked to him, she decided she was going to kill everybody. Would anybody like to know why? What do you think he said to her? She needed to just go home and be a good wife. You know, men will be men. He doesn't mean anything by it. And she needs to be submissive. Okay? And focus on being a better wife. And then he wouldn't have a reason to look anywhere else. That was 20 years ago. And I think about it now, I still get angry about it. Because she was upset about the direction that her life was heading in, but she was not thinking about killing folk until after that conversation. Okay? And so it's important that we understand the influence that we have in people's lives. You know, if they look up to us, if they listen to us, if they respect us, we have a responsibility to be the Lord's mouthpiece. We cannot give into tradition. We cannot do that. It's not okay. So I mean, I never forgot that. So I left her house and ended up going to my house with a shotgun. And my kids were like, okay, mom has a shotgun. That is a true story. That's not a story that I'm making up for the sake of this life. That actually happened. I will never forget it. And because of that, I am adamant today, right, that when I need to say something, I'm going to say it. And if it bucks tradition, then oh well. But I'm saying it anyway. Because God does not want us ensnared. He doesn't want us ensnared. He doesn't want us trapped. He doesn't want us miserable. He does not want us being cursed out, intimidated, and all of that. He's not. That's not. He didn't go to the cross for us to live that way. We're living way beneath our privilege, and it's unnecessary. Okay? And so this is why Anointed Fire Empowerment Enterprises was birthed. This is why Anointed Fire Empowerment Courses was established. And going back to Hosea 4:6 now, the Bible declares, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because thou hast rejected knowledge. And because you have rejected knowledge, I have rejected you, right? I've rejected you and keep clowning, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm going to reject your children too. So there are consequences for us not doing what we're supposed to do. There are consequences for it. Us not doing what we're supposed to do. People remain ensnared and we end up in trouble because we're not being who we need to be. If I'm your friend, I'm not even being a good friend if I'm not concerned about how you're being treated. I'm not even being a good friend. Forget being a Christian. I'm not being a good human if I don't care about what you're experiencing behind closed doors. All right? And so one thing that I want to emphasize as well is that when someone comes to you and they say, I'm being mistreated, believe them. If you find yourself wanting to defend the person that they say is mistreating them, I challenge you to ask yourself, what dog do you have in that fight? Why do you need to believe that they're not capable of the behavior that's being described? Why do we need to believe that it's a lie? Because then it becomes about us, right? It's still not about them. It's still about us. So once again, we're not being a good human, if you're a believer or not. So it's important that we be who we're supposed to be to people. The Lord has put us in position where we can influence how these things play out in the lives of the people around us, right? The statistics are staggering. And check this out. They're staggering worldwide. And domestic violence is underreported worldwide. The United Nations said, just a year or so ago, that the most dangerous place for a woman is in her own home. Think about that. She's safer outside somewhere than she is in her own house. The most dangerous place for a woman is in her own home. The one place that she should be safe. The one place that she should be safe. All right? Now, I'm going to say this. You know, I believe that oftentimes this is not addressed across pulpits because we have leadership that are guilty of the behaviors that they would have to address. Not that that's impossible, because we've seen leadership, come out hard against, alternative lifestyles, come out hard against all these things that you find out later that they were doing. Okay, so I'm not saying that you need to be swinging from light fixtures and screaming and yelling and spitting and carrying on, but why is it that it's not being addressed across the pulpit? Are we concerned that the abuser will take their tithe money and going up the road? What are we worried about? Are we more concerned about that than we are about the life of the people that God has given us to shepherd? Because that's not okay. And so I can tell you from personal experience that God will let us know what it is he expects us to do, and he will provide us an opportunity to do it, and he will provide us an avenue to do it, and then he's going to get us if we don't do it. He'll get us if we don't do it. Okay? And so for those of you who's like, well, I don't want to go get a secular education about this stuff because whatever. Okay, well, I'm a Christian. I love the Lord with all my heart. Everything I do is about pleasing him. He is the absolute center of my life, and I state that unapologetically. But this applies to everybody. If you're a believer or not, if you're Buddhist, Jewish, it doesn't matter. Muslim, it doesn't matter. Okay? Domestic violence is not okay. And it's born of insecurity, and it's all about power and control. All right? It flourishes in isolation. And the sad thing is that victims feel isolated because they are isolated. So what are some of the things that we can look for? What can we look for when we're talking about this? How do you know? I think if we take just a few more minutes, when you ask someone how they're doing, pay attention. When you ask someone, how are you doing? Pay attention. If they say they're fine and that don't feel right, then they're probably not fine, right? Then they're probably not fine. And so what do you do then? What do you do then when you don't think they really are fine? What do? You just well, they said they're fine. No. Now, those of you who know me personally know you walk past me. If I pick up something weird in my spirit, I'm stopping you. Come back here. What's going on? I'm fine. No, let's do that again, because that was not the truth. Okay, that wasn't the truth. That felt weird when you walked past me. What's going on? Okay, so we have to get away from the superficial, right? And really be concerned about one another. It only takes a few extra minutes to actually attend to the person who is standing in front of you. Pay attention. Do they seem to be okay? Do they seem depressed? Are they too over the top happy? Because that's not normal either. There's a balance that accompanies normalcy. The happiest person in the world has a point where they even off, right? If somebody all the time, something's probably wrong. They're trying way too hard, okay? And so, those of us that are believers, we need to ask the Lord to make us more sensitive to what's going on. Help us to truly attend to one another when we're in one another's company. Listen to the Spirit of God's prompting when he tells us to check on people. When he tells us to check on people, we should check on people. This idea that we have that because someone is a bishop or an apostle or whatever, they can do no wrong is a lie from the pit of hell, okay? I'm an apostle. If I do something wrong, if you care about me, you'll tell me. If you care about me, you'll tell me. You need to be more concerned about where I'm going to spend eternity as opposed to if I'm going to get mad at you or not, okay? When we care about people, we tell them the truth. And we speak the truth in love, but we do speak the truth. We do speak the truth. Now, when I mentioned that incident that occurred with that young lady, and I promise you, when I look back on it, I'm like, the hair on the back of my neck stands straight up. I'm thinking, what in the world? I feel badly even thinking about it today, that I just didn't say to her, don't go talk to him. I believe if I told her not to go talk to him, she wouldn't have gone and talked to him. But I didn't say it. All right? Confession is good for the soul. I didn't say it, and I didn't say it because of tradition, because it was ingrained in me that you don't talk against people's pastors, and you cover, love covers a multitude of. We use all these scriptures and we misappropriate them, and God is sick of it. He would very much like for us to use his word in the way it was intended, without us editing and twisting it to suit ourselves. So 51% of pastors say that in 2017, they discussed domestic violence with their congregation. So here's a question for you. Has yours had that conversation across the pulpit? And if you are a pastor or ministry leader, when's the last time you had a conversation about that? When's the last time it was discussed in Bible study or in a singles conference or in a couples conference? When's the last time? Because 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men are seriously abused in an intimate partner relationship, right? So that means if you go to the grocery store right now and get in line, if there's 7 people in line, at least one of them has either caught hell in the past or they're catching it right now. And it might even be you. It may even be you. All right? The other thing that I really want to make clear, hey, Lori, hey, Zanetta, the other thing that I want to make clear is this. If we think that it's only abuse when it turns physical, we have completely missed the boat. Because in order to get to a place where I can mistreat you physically, I have to first break you down. I have to first break you down. If I come out of the gate getting physical, you might hit me back. I've got to grind you into the ground and make you believe you have no value, that you have no help, that I'm the only one that cares about you, in order to even get away with the shenanigans that happens later. In order to even get away with that, I've got to make you believe you have no choice and you have no other resource, right? I have to devalue you. For those of you who are single, okay, and this is just dropping in my spirit right now. I'm just covering what I'm told, okay? When you meet someone, right, and you get that, oh, I feel like I've known him or her all my life, you better run. Lace up your Nikes and get up out of there. Because that's a familiar spirit. It shouldn't feel like that. You haven't known them your entire life. And that's not normal, okay? It should not feel that way. You should be learning about each other. You shouldn't feel like you already know each other, okay? And if you feel that way, right, you look back. The other people that you felt that way about, how did that work out? How did that work out? Okay, so there's work involved in a relationship. And I'll tell you, if we apply what we learn in our relationships, we can save ourselves a whole lot of headache. Okay, so now here's a transparent moment. Okay, here's a transparent moment. I dated someone 2 years ago for about 5 minutes. No, not 5 minutes. It was like 2 weeks, and that was 1 week longer than it needed to be. Okay, because it was just perfect gentleman, attentive, you name it, he did it. In my spirit, I'm like, something is wrong, and I don't know what it is, because there wasn't anything that he was doing that I could pinpoint. Does that make sense? Like, he wasn't mean to the waitress when we went out, and he wasn't, but something was wrong. The Spirit of God kept saying, and I could not figure out. Let me tell you something. 20 years ago, I would have wanted to know exactly what it was. Today, I don't care what it is. If the Spirit of God, if I'm uneasy in my spirit, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's right then. I'm done. So this individual was an apostle. Okay, and I'm sharing this so that you all understand it doesn't matter what title people have or who gave it to him. Okay, he was an apostle. And the first thing tangible that I could put my finger on was he wanted to spend time with me, and I needed to be in prayer. This was like on New Year's Eve. And you all know for the past 10 years, where am I on New Year's Eve? I am on my face in the war room praying for folk. Myself, I get prayer requests on sticky notes in my inbox, and then that's where I am every New Year's Eve, and everybody knows it. So I'm trying to understand, why is an apostle upset because I want to be in prayer? That ain't making sense to me. I said, okay, so there's the first tangible bit of evidence that something's wrong here. And then I started getting this sensation when I was around them, like somebody was draining all the oxygen out of the room, like just like this, like I was suffocating. And I'm thinking, oh no, I'm not, I felt this before, and I'm not doing that again. Okay, so I was like, and someone asked me, well, how did you end it? I stopped talking to him. Okay, it doesn't have to be deep and mystical. When we hear about these cases where people are severely abused, um, there was a case, I think, in Michigan where the husband killed his own two children, killed his stepchildren in front of their mother, didn't kill her because he wanted her to be tortured by watching him kill all the other kids. Okay? This guy had been in prison for killing his first wife. Why am I referencing that case in particular? Because it's easy for me to look at that and understand, especially from a spiritual perspective, how someone would say, well, be forgiving and anybody can change. And okay, all right. When Christ saves us, he saves all of us from something. And none of us need to go back to being the person that we were. But let me tell you something. You need to know who he or she was before they came into contact with Christ. Because if they decide to put Christ down, guess who's showing up? Guess who's showing up? So you don't not only do you need to be able to deal with them how they are now and be understanding, you need to understand who you may end up dealing with if they decide that they're tired of following Jesus. Okay? So we have to do our due diligence. Okay? Today, I want to know what he delivered you from. So I can decide if I want to look at that joker again if you have a moment. That's what I need to know. That's what I'm looking for that. Who were you before? Who do I need to be concerned about getting reintroduced to if you decide you tired of living right? You decide you want to get in your flesh, who am I going to be dealing with then? So we've got to take off the rose-colored glasses and ask the hard questions. Ask the hard questions. Okay? So I'm going to say that. And one other thing that I have learned over the years. When you have been in an abusive relationship, right? There's a tendency when you move into the next relationship to get fixated on the one thing that you felt starved for in your previous relationship. A good example would be, say you were in a relationship and your previous partner didn't listen, didn't want to spend time with you, wanted to be out with the fellas or wanted to be out with their girlfriends all the time. Now you meet someone that wants to spend time with you. They initiate the dates. They arrange everything, right? That's wonderful, isn't it? But what else is there about them? It's easy to get focused on the thing that you think you were starved for and to ignore all the other red flags. It could be a serial killer, but they're paying attention to you, so you completely overlook all the signals that there's something wrong here because you feel starved for attention and they're giving you attention and you're not having to beg for it and plead for it. Okay, so if they're a bad person and they're a narcissist and self-centered, of course they're giving you everything you think you want right now. They're not having to give you everything. They're only having to give you the one thing that you're starved for. And so I would leave you with this thought. The standard isn't high enough, oftentimes, as we move from one dating situation, one relationship to another. The standard isn't high enough. Okay, so you're not cussing me out and you haven't hit me yet. All right. But what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Where are you going? What are your goals? What are your plans? What is it that you hope for us to accomplish together? Or am I just so happy that you're paying attention to me that that's all I require in this relationship? Okay, so that's for somebody. I don't know who that was for, but that was for somebody that's either on this live right now or who is going to watch the replay. And so God is concerned about our well-being. He wants us to be okay. He does not want us getting cursed out. He does not want us to feel afraid or alone or isolated. And when we have those feelings, it's not God. And anyone who tells you, well, just pray about it, you need to stop talking to them. Okay. And you need to start. I'm going to need you to get some different friends. Okay. Matter of fact, join Lisa Alexander's page, Stand Up Survivor, and she can help you with that too. All right, we are here for you. But get educated about the dynamics of domestic violence. Get educated about it, okay? It is something that God is requiring of us. We have got to do a better job of taking care of one another. We have to. We have to. And for those of us, who are believers and find yourself in a situation like this, sign up for our courses. It'll help you to understand how you found yourself in that position. It doesn't mean that you don't love the Lord. Doesn't mean that you're not saved. It doesn't mean that you're not a good, devout Jewish person. It doesn't mean that you're not a fantastic Muslim person. But you've got to figure out what is wrong with the yardstick that you use to measure the quality of relationships, right? Consider this. If you're using a yardstick, right, and that's based on our core values, it's based on how we perceive ourselves, what we truly believe about ourselves, not what people think we think about ourselves, but when we're by ourselves, what we really think about ourselves. If your yardstick is jacked up, everything you measure with that stick is going to be off. It doesn't matter how much time you give it. It doesn't matter how much you love it, how much you try to understand it, right? It doesn't matter which way you turn it. It doesn't matter if you put it down and walk away from it and come back later. If the thing that you are using to gauge what is healthy is jacked up, the end result will always be jacked up. Now, does that mean you need a whole new yardstick? That's probably not going to happen because it's a part of who you have grown into. It's part of how you move through life. But what we can do, right, is learn to accurately discern our own blind spots. I'll give you an example. We all have biases, right? One of my biases is for a middle-aged man to be wandering the earth acting like he's 19, not being responsible, not caring about anybody but himself. I just don't have any patience with it. Now, because I know that about myself, right? It's possible that I'm overreacting when somebody, displays those tendencies, but I'm certainly going to pay attention. I'll take into consideration that, okay, maybe I'm being a little short, but then I'm going to pay attention so I can make a ruling on that one way or the other. Okay, so we have to know what our own shortcomings are and how they tend to affect our decisions. And if you're one of those people that is always making excuses for other people's bad behavior, you are exactly who the abuser is looking for. Okay? I'll give you another thing to look out for. Let's say you're at a time in your life. Let's say you just came out of a relationship. And this can apply to a man or a woman. You just came out of a relationship and it really broke you down. It really crushed you, right? Then you meet Ray or Felicia, whoever. Seems like you've known them all your life. That's the first red flag. I told you you shouldn't feel like that. That's a familiar spirit. Okay, something's not okay with that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you're not thinking very highly of yourself at the time. And maybe you're denigrating yourself because of decisions you made in the past, or how did I get into that horrible relationship? I should have known better, blah, blah, blah. Then they come along and they are so patient and loving and supportive of you in your brokenness. If they need for you to be broken in order to feel important to you, that's a problem. And I'll tell you why. The moment you begin to heal, right, and grow past that place of hurt, then you're going to meet who they actually are because they need for you to be broken. All right? There's 2 freebies. I'm just throwing that out there. Those 2 things. They shouldn't need for you to be broken. They should not need for you to be a hot mess, an emotional disaster in order to feel important. If they do, there is some ingrained insecurity in them. And the moment you begin to get your sea legs, that other critter is going to show up. Okay? All right. Now, once again, I want you to make sure, go check out Lisa Alexander's page. I wish I could have gotten her on here. We're going to do that at some point. They just wouldn't let her on. stand up survivor, okay? What we want you to know is that there's life on the other side of it. The other thing that I want you to know is that there's a way that you must navigate it, okay? There's a way that you must navigate it. Standing up in the middle of the floor screaming and yelling, I'm leaving, is not the way to do that, okay? The other thing is, on average, a woman will leave 7 times before she leaves for real. The problem with that is that each time she comes back, things escalate, all right? And she may not get out alive. She may not get out alive, okay? So we have to understand the importance of what we're dealing with here. And it's our desire that we all just do a better job, like I said, of undergirding and taking care of one another. And tell people the truth. If you don't know what to say when someone says something to you and they tell you that they're being abused, if you don't know what to say, it's okay to say, you know what, I hate that you are this hurt and feeling this way. I don't know what to say. Please, I'm asking for people everywhere. Please don't do a cliche. Don't do a cliche. You may lose them altogether if you come up with let go and let God. Don't do that. It's almost offensive when someone is hurting, okay? It's okay just to be human and say, I don't know what to say. And I'm sorry you're going through that. Ask them, how can I help you? How can I help you? What can I do, right? Try not to twist your face up when they tell you for the 3rd time that they just had an argument. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be authentic with one another, and let's be concerned and make sure that we're not just leaning into tradition when we tell people how to handle it, okay? If it makes you feel insecure, it's like, this makes me feel concerned about my own relationship. Okay, that's okay, because that's one of the effects. So again, the National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-SAFE. The National Sexual Assault Hotline is 1-800-656-HOPE. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255. The National Human Trafficking Hotline is 888-373-7888. And the Veterans Crisis Line is 1-800-273-8255. Now, if anyone needs to call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, they also have a chat that you can do if you're in a situation where you can't talk because it's not safe. Also, I want to encourage you to make sure that you use a safe computer, which is probably not the one that you have at home. Know also that if you live with an abuser, it is not unlikely that they have keystroke software on your phone or on your computer so that they can track who you're communicating with. So you may want to go to a public library or someplace like that in order to check in with the hotline or whatever, okay? Just be safe, be careful. Talk to people, let people know what's going on. Sign up for our courses. The 5-week course that we're going to be doing, Domestic Violence, Dominion over Domestic Violence, is going to include a private Facebook group so that people have a safe place to share. And I'm making the group private so that people can click on the page all day long, but they cannot see who's in the group, okay? So you'll be safe in there. They cannot see who's in the group. And I'm going to be vetting every single person that even applies to come in because, you know, I'm not with the foolishness. So I want you all to be encouraged. Check out our blog, Judah's Roar. And we'll post all of this to the video when I get done. So check out our blog, which is Judah's Roar. You can sign up for notifications from the school, which is Anointed Fire Empowerment Courses. What else? You can follow us on Instagram at Judah's Roar. You can follow us on Pinterest at Judah's Roar. You can follow us where else? Oh, I have another page, Apostle Cheryl L. Richardson, and then the ministry Facebook page is Lion of Judah Global Impact Ministries, okay? You can inbox me anytime. I'm here for you, I promise. I just, I believe God, and I know he wants us to be free, and I believe that we can gain strength and continue to learn and grow together. And I'm going to say this, and then we'll be done. If someone is in a situation in which they're being abused, even if they elect to stay, they need to have a safety plan. And this is what I tell people. Well, I'm not ready to go. Well, you really need a plan. You need a plan if you're planning to stay. Okay? So if you're staying or not, you need a plan. You need a plan. And someone outside of your situation needs to look over that plan with you. So you can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You can reach out to Lisa Alexander on her page. You can reach out to me on any one of my 3 pages. Okay, you can inbox me or whatever. You know, I'm not going to tell anybody anything that they said to me in confidence. It's just not going to happen. Okay. But I believe that this has the attention of the Lord, and He wants us to stop hurting each other down here. And He wants us to help each other and to really just take a few extra minutes to attend to how people are actually doing. All right? That's it for now. So sign up for our courses. Come say hi on the page. Say hi to a couple of people. Hey, Lori and Zanetta. Hey, Deborah Herring, my Facebook friend. Aw, Dr. Verlene, Haley Gould, my sister. Hey, Sandy. Hi, Paul. So I'm going to keep you all, Sam, I'm going to keep you all in prayer, okay? You all keep me lifted. I'm determined to do what God has put before us to do, and I believe that we can continue to learn and grow together, all right? So I'll see you later. Bye.